Alright, no small talk. We're going to do an unpackaging. This is by way of Monterey Bay Knives. This is the Ray Lacconico. This is 1-2 because I'm cutting it open. This is not good. Work Pro. Come on now. There we go. Okay. There we go. Alright, there we go. We're getting it. This is the Wolverine. Now, as far as I know, this is a new model. I believe, I think I saw it on the Monterey Bay website. Click notify me last week. Got the notification. And of course, because of what happened with the SaberTooth, that one sold out like right after I ordered it. I did not hesitate. And then I don't know how long it took to sell out, but it did sell out. And I don't think it took very long. Awesome. So we've got the knife. We've got a microfiber cleaning cloth, Monterey Bay Knives. We got a unbranded kit. No, it is branded. Monterey Bay Knives. Very nice. Nice little pouch. And then we got a whole package of screws and washers. Nice. Okay. They really thought ahead. This is impressive. And I'll tell you the most impressive thing. The most impressive is going to be that it is titanium. It is S90V. They are advertising the HRC at 62 to 63, which, I mean, they're definitely on the harder side. I think that's pretty good for S90V. I don't know if it goes much harder, but I mean, 62, 63 with anything is pretty good. It's already kind of telling you it's going to be a little tough to sharpen. And I do have one experience with S90V, and it took a long time to get that knife sharp, and that was, we'll talk about that sometime. That was the EOS Dorado, but I had to sharpen it. There was a story behind that. I'll make a video on it. So this is the Wolverine, and it looks like a baby SaberTooth. So here's the SaberTooth. Okay, let's talk about these. Again, we have a titanium handle. We have S90V steel. We have a front flipper. And best of all, it is a liner lock, and I love liner locks, and I don't know what it is. S90V right there. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Just liner locks are like what I like. They're clean. It looks clean. It looks good, especially like this, where it's like nested in there, and then they just have that little bit. Yeah, and Lacconico, look at that. It's nice and like kind of rounded there for your thumb to just catch. And that's something I loved about the Echo. The Echo liner lock. It's just like this knife right here. I love this. I carry it a lot. It's a Lacconico, of course. CTS-XHP, nothing special. Actually got it really cheap on Amazon. I think I paid like $25 on a factory second or return. I have no idea. It was definitely took a little bit of love when I got it, but it was $20-something. Yeah, so liner lock is done just like that. If you have one, you'll know. As you can see, very much the same. That is what I love about the SaberTooth. Again, we're talking about a nice nested liner lock, and it's definitely my favorite lock. I know it's not the strongest. I know that the triad lock, or the shark lock, or the just Reeve integral are so much stronger, but I'm not out here hacking. It's not an axe. It's also not a fixed blade. I have fixed blades for when I need fixed blades. I carry pocket knives for light use, not hard use of my pocket knives. I prefer a liner lock. It's just something about it. You never get lock stick. You don't get lock block. Well, you can't get lock stick. Excuse me. You never get lock block with the liner lock, and the detent in a liner lock is just superb. I argue to say it's the best lock, personally, in my opinion. And I'll leave it at that. Okay, so let's get into this. We are talking titanium. We have a milled pocket clip, not exactly deep carry, but it's not too bad. So you get about 3/8 of an inch out of pocket. And looks like steel liners. I would guess these are probably steel. And my magnet is gone, so let's use this one. This is a big old magnet. There we go. Yeah, steel liners. It's definitely sticking. Oh, is this steel handle? Like, or is it just picking up the steel inside the titanium? It's just the titanium is very thin. It just, no, that's definitely sticking to the pocket clip. Interesting. This is supposed to be titanium handle. Definitely. Yeah, I think the steel is just the magnet is that strong. Like even on the Asher, it's titanium and it's just going right through. Okay, not a good magnet to be testing with. A little too strong. And I actually usually have a little magnet right here for this purpose, and it is not here. I guess I could be better prepared. Oh well. All right, so let's get into some other things here. All right, so overall length is 7.5 inches according to the website. We are looking at 7 1/4. Definitely not 7.5 inches. Blade length 3 inches on the website. We're looking at 3 1/4. All right. Handle length 4 inches to the website, and okay, 4 inches on the handle. It is on ceramic bearings, which is exactly what was in the bag. And looks like this is not a captive pivot. It is double-sided. We're going to be looking at a T8. Yeah. Definitely a T8. And I am just, yeah, that's not spinning easy. There's probably some Loctite on there, so, oh, nope, there it goes. Okay, that came right out. Okay, that may be captive, because it definitely did not spin the backside. So let's just tighten that back up. Very nice. T8 on the body. Yeah, T8 on the body. And pocket clip, we are at, oh, yep, T8. Yep, so it's T8 all around, not bad. Okay. I'm happy with that. Anything bigger than a T6 I'm good with. Did it line back up. It was centered when I pulled it out. It appears to be centered again. Very nice. We do have an external stop bar in the back there. And that does double for your open and close stop. It does stop in the finger choil, leaving you room for your sharpening choil. We do have a nice 4-finger. I mean, it's a good size grip. I love this knife, and the reason I jumped on the Wolverine was I like this knife a lot. I love this knife a lot. It's got nice fullers, thumb hole, you know, good for the reverse flick, good for the forward, and good for the front flipper. However, it is big. This is a big knife. It is not small. And I do love the fact that it's big. And I like my big knives. And this one is coming in at 8.5 inches. However, I do fancy a smaller knife. Yeah, I really was expecting this to be 7.5 like the website advertisement, and it's definitely not. It is, I mean, that is 7 1/4. So they're short of me 1/2 inch. How you like that? All right. I'm sure it was just an oversight, and that's all good. Can't be mad about that. You know, this is a designer in the community, not a big company, so no qualms, no beef with that, and not a big deal. So yeah, size on this is great. I mean, just absolutely great. Fuller's a little tough to reach. It's not as big as the SaberTooth, so it's, I mean, my big old fat sausage fingers having just a little bit of a problem getting in there, but it's doable. Finger's easy to get to. Very nice. Thumb. Oh yeah, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And it's got that nice leaf-shaped blade. I guess it'd be leaf-shaped, maybe spear point. What would you call that? Drop point, spear point. I would say that is in line with a pivot. I would almost argue it to be a spear point. And yeah, definitely leaf shape. I got a nice almost harpoon back here. You want to call it that? A little bit of jimping in there. Not too aggressive. Not sharp. No sharp corners on this. Everything seems pretty nice and rounded down. Pocket clip looks good. Looks like it's gonna ramp over and in and out of that pocket pretty easy. You know, sometimes there's like a wall, and you wonder how that made it past QC with that. But yeah, that looks like it's gonna go in and out pretty easy. Yeah, not too bad. Not a whole lot of pressure to pull that up. Get milled liners, so a little weight reduction in there. Very nice. Looks like stainless steel standoffs, I would guess. Yeah. Again, S90V. We have I guess that's a machine satin, belt satin. Not an aggressive belt satin. Almost like it's, yeah, it's nicely done. It's not an aggressive satin where it's like, you know, heavily ground. You do see directional grinding on the blade from about the fuller down to the edge, and it does look like it's a flat. Yeah, left definitely looks flat. It does not look hollow. So it's a mid flat grind all the way to the edge underneath that fuller, and just beautifully done. Anytime you got a lot of compound grinds, angles on the blade. Not a whole lot of marking on it, just a little bit of MBK. Got the S90V down there. I like that. Do like that a lot. You know, just the MBK logo there. Let's turn that over and make it upright. Very nice. Very nice. Beautiful knife. Absolutely beautiful. Very happy with it. And $130. $130. I mean, this is getting in that territory where it's just like, how do you compete with that? You know, it makes it hard. It makes it hard to justify buying more expensive knives. And I don't know what makes it cheaper. I don't know if it's less materials. I mean, that looks like a lot of grinding on the blade there. It looks, you know, like intricate. It's not like a Spyderco where it's just like it's flat, and, you know, a hole and drilled out. And, you know, this is knocked down. It's, you know, definitely been through a stone wash or a bead wash, whatever they do, can't remember the process name when you knock it down, you put them in and shake it, and kneeling, yeah, whatever it's called. So, $130. $130. How do you beat that? How do you justify $400 on a knife? Like, you buy something like this, and it's just beautifully done. And I know it's not a whole lot of titanium on the handle. It's not like a thick chunk of titanium, but I mean, it's milled out. You have, you know, stainless steel liners in there for strength, and they're fully nested in there. You know, I guess there's more that can be done. You know, it could be bolstered and carbon fiber, but it's just down in that. It's down in that like Tucson like territory where, you know, I guess they're the OEM. So Tucson puts out some phenomenal knives at very, very reasonable prices, very cheap prices. And I know that like the HRC on their M390 isn't, you know, it's probably 58 to 60, and you're probably looking at a 59, 58. It's not, you know, 61 M90, M390. So the heat treatment might be rushed or maybe not as thorough. Who knows? But I mean, it's M390, so you know it's Bowler, and And the price, I mean, the price. You turn around, and you see other companies out there, and they're putting 154 cm and titanium at 150, $200, or you see companies like Benchmade that are putting Grivery and S30V for $200, or you got Fox knives, which I know the Italians they take long breaks, and they don't have strenuous as a work week. They're more socialized healthcare and stuff. you get FRN and 690 for $150, $200, and magnet cut and aluminum is $300, but it is what it is, and I'll gladly pay it if it's something that catches my eye, something I really want. But enough of the rambling. Let's get into some comparisons here. Did I miss anything on this? I think I covered everything. It looks pretty good. It is right and left carry. It is tip up only. We do have a little teardrop thumb hole, and yeah, I think that's about it. We can get into some comparisons here. So I do want to start with some of the more common ones. Let's go with the Benchmade, and this is definitely in that carry category of the bug out. Maybe a little thicker than the bug out, actually. Let's just check that. So on thickness, let's zero that out. We are at a 0.39 on the handle, and 0.44. Back here, yeah, 0.44. Okay, the bug out is coming in at 0.403. So a little bit thicker in the handle of the bug out. Blade on the bug out is 0.85, whereas the Wolverine on the spine, well, it's pretty much the thickest part. So you're 1.19, 1.18, 0.18, whatever that means to you. So a little bit thicker than the bug out, lengthwise. It is, and let me check the edge for you. Oh, I know I'm all over the place here, but I'll get this down one day. 0.15, 0.015, whatever that means. I don't know how to make sense of those numbers, and it's not something I look at. Usually I can just get a pretty good idea from knife comparisons or the picture, and as long as I can get an idea of what the handle thickness is, I can pretty much tell the blade ratio. So, yeah, here we go. We got the bug out and the weight. Man, I'm terrible. Okay. They did post a 4.5 on the website. So real quick, we'll get back into this. I promise you, we'll get through this together. Okay, can we see this? Yeah, might be a little tough to see, but I can see it, and that's what matters. I'll just tell you what it is. Okay, there we go. We are coming in at 3.77. That is, just to be sure, let's tear that. And let's get back in there. 3.77. So 3.77 and 4.5 on the website. So maybe the website, wasn't updated. Maybe they probably made some changes. Probably did the website, made some changes, came back, came in lighter. It's better to overshoot, under promise and over deliver than it is to vice versa. So he definitely over delivered, because lighter knife, definitely. Length, that's, yeah. It's at 7 range, quarter of an inch is going to make a difference? Not really. I don't think so. Not to me, it's not. Maybe somebody out there. So maybe that little quarter inch would have made it just slightly longer than the bug out. That bug out is coming in at just under 7.5. So 16th under 7.5. So that would be 7/16. And we are looking at There we go. Hope this helps. The Adamus, the only two Benchmades I care about, and the only two Benchmades I would recommend. Well, the Super Freak, but that's a knife of its own. So we got the Mini Adamus, and we got the Bug Out. And let's get into some Spyderco. Everybody loves the Spydercos. First thing is going to be the pair of 3. There we go. So bring a pair of 3. And the Old Faithful PM2. Both of these are in Maximate, I believe. Yes. Both are in Maximate. One was bathed in acid, which makes it a little darker. There we go. Pair of 3. PM2. The pair of 3. Let's move this out. And we're going to do something a little bit different. So what I would like to do is give some comparisons to popular models. And this is something I would like to do moving forward. So popular brands that have a lot, and popular models. This is the Vosity Raccoon. This was definitely one that was very popular because it was always getting sold out. And I just happened to get this one in Blue Micarta button lock. Now they do make a crossbar. I'm not sure if the Raccoon comes in a liner lock. I'm sure if it did, I would have it. Or maybe it's elusive and I just never got it. So the Vosity Raccoon, the very popular model. And definitely in that size range. This is the Civivi Elementum. Yeah, it's a Blade HQ one, but that was the only Elementum that ever caught my eye. I'm just not into a flipper only. But yeah, once upon a time, it was difficult to get the Desert Warrior. So the Civivi Elementum for you. And we're going to bring this around to CJRB. And this is the Pyrite original. Definitely that range and size. And this, I think they call this the Bug Out Killer because it was very thin. It is thinner. It is thinner than the Wolverine, but it's a button versus a liner, and I'll take the liner lock all day, as well as the blade shape. I do like a leaf shape blade. As a Spyderco fanboy myself, I like the leaf shape, and yeah, liner lock, what can I say? Okay, so that's a CJRB Pyrite. And then we're going to bring in a QSP Penguin. I think everybody's probably got one of these in their collection. This is a titanium version, Caviso, but it's the same size as the G10 and Micarta versions, the smaller. And just in case, we'll bring out the XL Penguin, since that is one of my favorite models. I do love a Penguin. They were definitely popular when they hit the market. And then we're going to bring this over to the Demco. Ooh. This is the 20.5? 18.5? I can't remember now. This is the Demco. It's been so long. The Shark's Foot. So it's the one that's 7 1/4 inches. Not the real big one. It's not the small one. So I think it's the 18.5 or 20.5. But it's a Demco, very popular model. They've flooded the market. And another very popular model is Concept Fenrir. So, one more after the Concept, and that's going to be Kaiser. So this is the Concept. I chose the Fenrir because it's a very popular Concept model, probably one of the most popular Concept models, if I'm not mistaken. And it's got that leaf shape, very similar blade shape to it. So I do actually have a Fenrir that is a tenable and button that might. Ooh, that was all hanging on the wall here, so I think it's the same size. Should be about the same size. Yeah, so 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. They're the same size. Again, another very popular model. I see these getting sold out everywhere. I did get the crispy donut. I'm not a button lock guy, but you put something in CDC, and I'm going to kind of be all over it. So, gotta love that. And then one from Kaiser, one with the Militol, because that is a very popular model. Unfortunately, I don't have the mini. I might have to get one just for comparisons, because it seems like the Militol is a crazy popular Kaiser model. And I know probably the Sheepdog may be a more popular Kaiser, but I was really trying to think of like what is the most popular Kaiser model. And I think the Militol, at least in the more recent times, has just they've put out a ton of variations, very popular. I have a few more, but they're the holiday ones. I'm not real big into the Militol, but it's a great design. I like this one. Just the micarta in titanium. That's my favorite. And the black DLC is a good looking knife. And then the arcade. I did pull this out because this seems to be a very popular model. The Flytanium arcade in more recent times, featuring the shark lock. And good size comparison. Hopefully this will give you an idea of the size, or maybe just introduce you to a new model of knife that might catch your interest. Okay, now let's get into some real comparisons here. This is a Lacconico, so I do want to compare it with some other Lacconicos. Now, we kind of did already do this with the SaberTooth, but I'm going to bring it back out here. So this is the baby SaberTooth Wolverine. I don't know, I kind of feel like Bobcat or Lynx, maybe like a Lynx and Bobcat or something would have been better versus the SaberTooth and Wolverine. Unless I think my son said something, maybe it was something to do with a comic. I don't know if it was X-Men or what. So this was the Wolverine and the SaberTooth. SaberTooth, Wolverine. Okay, we did talk about the Echo, and this is a Lacconico. Since it's titanium, we'll bring out the titanium Echo. NS90V. What a difference. The CJRB, I mean the titanium Echo, these are like $175, the button lock. I think you can catch them on sale like $125. They do make lesser versions, but this is the S90V in titanium. Not a cheap knife. Very close in size. I do prefer my liner lock and micarta to carry more, but I like this one too. Very beautifully done. Well, this one is also milled, so you may say it costs more to produce because of that. The milling. No, I'm not a titanium pro. I don't know about the titaniums and what the differences is. It doesn't tell me if this is a specific blend of titanium. I'm sure that could impact the cost. And then we're going to bring in the We Evoke. And this was, I think, the one that really did me in with Lacconico, to where I want the Sokoke, and I do want the Rosalita. I think it's a Rosalita, but the We Evoke, definitely one of my most favorite We knives, and my only We knife that I have in Damascus steel, because the model, I love the model, the profile, the Lacconico front flipper. You do see a trend in some of his designs. The few that are on my list to get this year is going to be the CJRB Revel. The Revel, I think there's another one that was done by Lacconico. You can definitely see some style similarities in his knives. Well thought out, nicely executed. Just flat out, like, I don't know, the sexy design. I don't know how else to explain it. But the Lacconico profiles, very nice looking. Now, I will do a full review eventually but we're going to just compare, talk about impressions, and so far my impressions are very nice, very good. Impressions are very good. They're very well impressions. And I'm trying to think, do I have any other Lacconico knives? I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of any. Some that may look like they're Lacconico, but yeah. There is some similarities to this. It's funny, you can look at certain knives and you can just be like, yeah, that's so and so. Like you know that's their design. So, and I think Lacconico is one that he just kind of stands out. I look at Lacconico knives and you could tell it's a Lacconico. So sometimes I'll see a knife like a Vox. You can always tell a Vox knife. They stand out. There's something about them. So I would definitely put this up there, with Vox being my favorite designer, and yeah, maybe the Glessers, Eric and Sal behind us have so many Spydercos, and then Lacconico like right in there, around like Vagnino maybe, yeah, or maybe. I give a shout out to Casey Spyron from Knives Fast. I love his designs, and I have a few of them. So I would put him in that level. Okay, so I do want to do some comparisons for you now, because it's a leaf shape blade, and let's compare some leaf shapes. So this one, I wouldn't be surprised if it is a Lacconico. Definitely not though, because it usually does like front flippers. But now when it's open, it does have that shape like the Rebel, where it's looks ergonomic, pointy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just speaking to speak at this point. But this is a CJRB Arion, I believe. This one is the Blade HQ in titanium and purple haze. And again, this is for spear points. And actually, before we do, we'll knock one out. This is definitely competition. And looking at it and thinking about it earlier, this is the Asher Knives Spyro Liner Lock Titanium. Now, I say that because this is in that price range where he's bringing these in at the 130 range. Yeah, I'd say about 130, 120, 130. And I don't think they go much higher. Stonewashed titanium, stonewashed blade. This is probably S35 yen. I don't think this one's marked. So a few of them are 20 CV. The newer ones I have are 20 CV. This is the older one, the older liner lock. I want to say this is S35. And I don't think I paid more than 120 at the most for it. So, nope, this is 20 CV. It's marked on there, if I'm reading that right. Am I reading that right? I can't tell. What does that say? It's real small. It's right in there. Can this focus? Yeah, 20 CV. Okay, I can see it there. So it is 20 CV. And hopefully that shows up. Yeah. 20 CV, and yeah, I want to say when I got this, it was in the 120, 130 range. I could be wrong. I just don't think it was very much more. Because Asher knives were known for being titanium, and that's 35 yen, and being like $85, $90. Now, that was kind of before inflation took over, but definitely in the range. Definitely impressive. And this changes the way I look at other knives, you know. It sets a benchmark that can be hard to beat. Okay. This is going to be a long video because I just don't want to shut up. So we're going to bring this in, and thinking about the Wolverine made me think about the Tucson Sidewinder. And very similar design, very similar shape. They're not, I'm the ones copying anybody here. Just very similar profiles. And it's an attractive profile, and a profile I like. That's what gravitated me to buy both of these. So this one is a bolster lock and front flipper. and one that I may have paid 120 bucks for it at the most, brand new. How do you beat that? I'd be surprised if it was $1 more than 120. I'd be surprised if I even paid $100 being a Tucson. You know, nice milling on the pocket clip. Nice lightning anno. You know, not crazy hard to do, but nicely done. Carbon fiber bolsters, and we are talking about M390 with a belt satin and a fuller. We also have a finger choil. It's also very light and very fidgety and fun. You expect at that price to get something that feels cheap, something that is going to have a lot of lock stick, and now it's not. I mean, full titanium backspacer, you know, it's not, doesn't even have any like liners, not steel liners, it's milled, and this deserves a review. Nicely done. Okay, so talking about leaf blades, the king of the leaf blades is Spyderco. So I'm just gonna dive into the Spyderco. So actually, one more. The Kubi Coas, I believe. The Kubi. It's a high benchmark S35EN. Lightning. It's not even time mask. It's just lightning. Anno. And black titanium and gold. However, it is DLC. So it's a polished DLC that may attribute to the price, or kind of contribute to the price, because this was not cheap. This was, even like with a discount on sale and everything, I think it was still like $250, $275. Like, I care about this. It stays on display. It still has a little plastic in there. So I fidget with it, and I never need to carry it. Just a beautiful knife, but very similar in design. Nice leaf shape, and size is very similar. Very nicely done for both, and I give both of these praise. I am a fan. Okay, king of the leaf blades is Spyderco. Let's maybe go from cheapest to most expensive. The Tenacious. Drop point, leaf. I don't know. You decide. The LC1. Yeah, right? LC1? Sure. The leaf jumper. All right, let's think about prices here. Prices. Yeah, I think that's going to bring us into the Sage 5. Similar length, similar in dimensions, size, both very EDC friendly. Just a very good size. Sage 5 is arguably one of my most favorite Spyderco models of all time. So much so, I bought this model when they discontinued. I bought an extra one, so if I ever lost my carry one, I wouldn't be upset. No, next in price would be this might upset some people, but it's going to be the River's Edge Cutlery Mannix 2. Well, the Mannix 2 in general. So there's a Mannix 2. What's going to upset people? Maybe the fact that the Little Temperance was a more expensive knife, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I think it was. Yeah, I might have this reversed. There's a Little Temperance, which is a little banger of a Spyderco that I don't think gets enough attention. And if I come across a K390 in a good price range, I might jump on that. How about the Domino? I love this one. Another favorite Spyderco that got discontinued. There's a Domino. I think it's just a Domino. Yeah, Domino, not Domino 3. Domino. Okay. Let's move to the Mannix. No, Mannix. I'm looking at the map. Native 5. The Native 5 in S90V, carbon fiber. Look at the difference. S90V, S90V. Carbon fiber, titanium. $250, $130. I think it was $250, maybe more because this is the Spyderco. And then we'll finish this off at the top with the Shaman. 4 size comparisons. Shaman maybe closer to the SaberTooth. Well, not maybe closer, it's definitely closer to the SaberTooth. So there we go. A whole lot of comparisons. Does it help? Did you make it this far? Did you just like looking at knives? Because I'll do that. Why not? How about a comparison to these two? The SaberTooth and the Shaman. This SaberTooth, the Shaman. The Shaman is the Big Brown Bear 15V with the TerraTough scales from Rips, maybe. I think these are, yeah, that TerraTough. Whoever does the TerraTough, that's where they're from. And yeah, I like them. It's a very textured kind of micarta. And the Wolverine. All right. So, not a full review, just an impressions. One last comparison for you. The Everyday Axe, which loses in blade length, loses in edge, and wins in handle. But without even being a review, without even carrying this, based on my experience that I have with the SaberTooth, based on my overall impression so far, it's a keeper. It's a keeper for me, 100%. I'm not one to sell knives either, but this is definitely a keeper. When I make a list, when I look at my collection, I'm like, hey, I can get rid of that one. Yeah, this one isn't. The SaberTooth was not one that I could get rid of. And I've thrown that down the list a few times. And I think if my whole collection got taken and I had to do this all over again, and I could only choose knives that I really want to keep, I would hunt this one down or wait for a next variation or a drop. And I think they did drop the SaberTooth as well as the Wolverine. They were in stock, and I don't know if the SaberTooth is still in stock. However, the Wolverine is. Today is April the 21st, 25th. What is today? The 22nd. The day after Easter. Nope, 2 days after Easter. And then, so, just right now, as of today, they're both out of stock. So, when I did look before, the SaberTooth did remain in stock a few days after the Wolverine sold out. So, again, not going to take long. Rosalinda. No, I was wrong. I think I said the Rosalita. Oh, the Mini Old Guard. Yes. The new model he has out with CJRB is the Cane. I'm looking forward to that in a more premium version. Definitely want to get that. So yeah. Oh, the Sea Line. The Sea Line. Oh, the Sea Line. What a beautiful model. It actually reminds me of the Boker Evade. So the Sea Line was one. Maybe I can get a picture of it on the video here. Was one that I was absolutely in love with, and it became available. The USA made. I got a notification it was in stock. I couldn't bite the price. So I think that's when I got the Boker Evade. I ordered that. I was like, yeah, big difference in price. So, all right, there's a Everyday Axe, courtesy of Marbles. This was fresh out of Pigeon Forge at the little knife making shop there, downtown Pigeon Forge, or Old Town Pigeon Forge, whatever. I don't know. The guy was on the TV show, Forged in Fire, I think, something. There we go. a whole lot of video about the Monterey Bay Wolverine. If you made it this far, thank you for sticking with me. If you made it this far, you probably like looking at the comparisons and seeing the different models. Let me know if you did, what models you'd like to see. Maybe I have it. Maybe I can use it in videos. Let me know if you liked seeing the popular models from different brands, or if it was overkill. You know, I'm sure there's going to be a good mixture of both. I try to help people get a idea of the size. It's hard to gauge the size sometimes. When you're looking, sometimes it'll say 6 inches, and you're thinking that, you know, it's more of a, I don't know, offhand, but you know what I mean. You know, this, you know, the Para 3, it's a good size knife. It is more handle than blade. Sometimes it's hard to get an idea. We all have that one that we got there where it probably came in, and you're kind of looking at it like that that should be bigger, you know. But a good model in its own, you know. So, and here's another one that it worked, but you kind of expect, you know, something a little bit bigger. I don't know. It is a size. It's the size as advertised. It just doesn't feel what it should be, and that happens. That's why I like to give a lot of comparisons here, and hopefully find a model that helps you get an idea of the size. So, if you made it this far, thank you. Thank you for sticking with me. You're a trooper. I appreciate it. If you want to give me some of that YouTube loving, I will make you a rock star in my eyes, and I'll love you even more. So, until we meet again.